All right, we think this is so funny because we've never gone live before. So, all right, we gotta be serious, Jess. Serious. Okay, so here we are. It's Dr. Renee. Hi, everybody. Oh, I should look at the camera. Look at the camera, not us. Okay. So this is actually my first time going live, and I get to do it with my lovely daughter, Jessica Price.
Hi, everyone.
Jessica is home for Veterans Day, and she has been looking through like all of my stuff that my posts, my videos, my sleep courses or whatever. So we thought it'd be great to jump on live because I get a lot of questions, especially from parents who are going through the anxiety right now of having a kid in college, first year. And I know a lot of college kids will be coming home soon for Thanksgiving and the Christmas break, but all the things that come up freshman year, I get a lot of friends that ask me these questions, and professionally, I get a lot of parents that worry about their college students the first year. So Jess agreed to come on and talk to us about what came up for her college year, first year college, how parents can help their kids cope through some of the things that will come up and just be prepared. So Jessie Wessie. Jessica, let's talk about what would you say was the hardest thing for you freshman year?
I feel like, I guess just adjusting to being in a new place, being somewhat far away from home, and trying to just like, I guess just like, I don't know, like, not like fit in, but like, make friends and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think making friends was so hard?
Well, I think, especially where I don't want to generalize, but my perception of where the school I go to, UMass Amherst, it's a lot of in-state kids, obviously, because it's the state school there.
Right.
And a lot of them keep their same friends from high school, which, I mean, if I went to a New York State school, I would be in that same exact position where I would have friends from high school that would probably be in my friend group in college.
Mm-hmm.
But as an out-of-state student, going somewhere where that's the case and a lot of people are friends from high school, it can definitely be hard because, they are just continuing the friends they have from high school. So they don't have to go through that first month, like, trial period of, like, am I going to be friends with these people? Am I going to be friends with these people? Who am I going to be friends with? Like, they don't really have to go through that. So it kind of puts them not ahead, but they kind of, they have people to go out with the first night of college or go to the dining hall with or walk to classes with and stuff like that. And they've probably have visited UMass however many times like they know older kids that go there. Like they just already have that community there. Whereas out of state kids most likely don't, which is fine, but it just takes a little bit longer to adjust and like find that community.
So I think you're bringing up a good point for me as a therapist and as a mom. Community is important, especially when college kids are moving away from their family. Family is the first community. They're moving away from that first community. And how do you find another community of people to feel like family,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm convinced, I also was an out-of-state student. I was an out-of-state student for my 4-year college, but I didn't have the same experience. I felt like I was able to find community very quickly. And so one of the things that, and you'll tell me, am I wrong? One of the things that I thought about, because that was a really hard time, there were a lot of phone calls home, there was a little homesickness, there were some tears, like as you adjusted, some anxiety, whatever. But should I have not said that?
No, I don't care.
Oh, okay. So one of the things that I think, particularly with your generation, what's your generation called?
Well, I'm like between Gen Z and like millennials. Like a
Gen
weird,
Z.
like,
Okay, I'm Generation X. So one of the differences I think adds to the whole social piece is that you guys grew up with social media. So I know you might disagree with me. I want to hear your thoughts on this. But for me, I feel like you guys never learn how to, like, you guys think somebody's your friend if they Snapchat you or like things that are bizarre to me. I feel like your generation was never allowed to have the social skills or build the social skills that like my generation had. I wonder if you think that contributed to how hard it was to build a community or make friends.
Yeah, I think that like it can definitely help and hurt in some situations. It I feel like it helps a lot in the sense that there are a lot of like Facebook groups before you like commit to a school or when you are committing to a school, there are a lot of like Facebook groups, which is like how a lot of people find their roommates or like find their friends and stuff like that. I know like my really good friends from home, a few of them like met people through their Facebook group and like maybe they like got lunch with like a few girls beforehand or like that's how they met their roommates, stuff like that. So I definitely think it can help in that sense. Um, for me personally, that was like a little bit overwhelming, and I didn't really like it because I don't think like you can become friends with someone because you met them like on Facebook. I don't know, like I just didn't really like think that was like normal, but it works for some people. And then also like we had for my major, we had like a Snapchat group chat where like people would just like introduce themselves and then like ask questions like about stuff that happened in classes and stuff like that. So like we had this group chat before classes even started and stuff. So it would be like, oh, I recognize this girl from like the Snapchat group chat and just like a like easy way to like recognize people. So I definitely think it helped in that sense. But then it could also obviously like it has its pros and cons. But I think that it could be a lot sometimes when it's like you first get to school and you see people like doing things that maybe you're not doing and like stuff like that. But I feel like that's kind of like in every stage of life. But I just feel like when it's right off the bat, like at school, and you're still like trying to adjust and you see like other people have maybe adjusted faster or like just like
The whole FOMO thing. So
Yeah.
for people my age that don't know, FOMO means fear of missing out. And so that's one, it's really a way that people can like do social bullying or like social aggression if they use it wrong. But sometimes it's just innocent. Like people, everything's on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and you see a bunch of your friends doing something that you're not doing. And what kind of feelings do people typically get from FOMO? Because I think this is a real thing. Like people get depressed over this. So talk about like, am I right? People get depressed.
Yeah.
So talk about like, talk about feelings that not even that you've had, that you've heard your friends have or whatever. Tell me what FOMO feels like. Tell the people what FOMO feels like. Go ahead, Jess.
Well, I think it's mostly well, the name, like the fear of missing out. It's kind of like you feel like you're not a part or like involved, I guess you can say. And that can be like upsetting at times for sure. But I think that like as you get older, like you realize like it's not that big of a deal. And like you can't go to everything, can't like do everything. So I feel like as you get older, like you kind of like grow out of that a little bit. But it's definitely hard like at first when like you see everyone doing things and you're like, well, why wasn't I invited? Or like, why am I not there? Like, how did they even know about that? Like stuff like that. Which can definitely be hard. And like I know people struggle with it like all the time.
Yeah. I think even adults struggle with that. So like, so I'm just going to get all mental health on you for a second. Like when you're saying that it's hard, what pops up typically with FOMO is, don't be yawning on my live. Don't be yawning on my what pops up is feelings of worthlessness. self-confidence, self-esteem. Am I enough? Am I good enough? Social anxiety, like it's easy to say it's really hard, but to break down the things that people actually feel, that's how people go into depression and anxiety and, am I good enough? Why am I not there? Things that probably have nothing to do. Like typically it's just, oh, we forgot. It's something innocent. We forgot to text you, or you weren't in the dining hall when we were, but when you see it on
Yeah.
social media, you feel like you weren't good enough. Why would, all those feelings that I think trigger self-worth, self-worth, right? And so you talk about this process, Jess, of getting to the point where FOMO doesn't matter anymore. How do you think people get to that point through maturity? Like, what are the steps or the stages? Do you know?
I don't know if I really like know the answer to that per se, but I think for me, it kind of just got to the point where like I just like don't really care anymore. And it's kind of like I feel like I've experienced like a lot of things, and like I've had that time where like it was me out all the time with my friends and other people were watching, and could have had FOMO, blah blah whatever. And I feel like I've been on the other side of it where it's like I saw people that were my friends like out doing whatever, and I was like, oh, why am I not there? So I feel like I've kind of been on both sides of it like throughout my life, and I feel like now I'm just kind of at the point where it's like it's one night, or like like this night, yeah, maybe I wasn't invited, next night I could be invited. It's just like I don't know, it's like rolling the dice. Like you never know.
You never know. But I think that comes from, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, I think that comes from a sense of confidence and being able to stand into who you are, like being happy enough with your life. Excuse me, being happy enough with your life and the things you have going on, and having a life that feels good to you and that is full of the things you like. If it's different when you're picking up your phone and you see everybody out and you don't feel good about yourself or what you've done. It's another thing when you've done the inner work, and it always goes back to inner work for me. The inner work of knowing I'm doing what I want to do, even if it's just being home reading a book or vegging Netflix. Like that's the inner work that I think it takes to get to that place.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like I'm just at a point now where it's like I don't like it doesn't fulfill me to like be out every single night of the weekend and like stuff like that. Like I'd rather just like stay in with my roommates and like watch a movie or something. So I guess that also goes into like why things like that wouldn't bother me like at where I am in my life right now. But like in the past, it definitely has. So it happens to everyone.
It does. I think it even happens to adults. And one of the things I like to tell parents is, when your children are going through stuff like this, I don't know if a lot of you know that I was on staff as a professor and a director at St. John's University for many years in their Department of Psychology. And so every university has a counseling center. And so when your children start to feel this way, they are eligible for free counseling at the University Counseling Center. So that's something that everybody should check out if your child needs it. Let's talk about roommates. So the first year away is hard as it is. And sometimes roommates aren't always a good fit, especially in our case. Jesse really wanted to be in a certain dorm, the freshman dorm, where the partying and the liveliness and everything was happening. And me as mommy was like, you're a bio major. Nope, you need to be on a special floor. And that's, so I can admit I made a mistake as a mom. My first year of college, I stayed on a specific floor that was like, a special floor, and I felt a sense of community, and it was like a smaller community within a larger university. And I thought that would be good for Jess. Total failure on mom's part, bombed that. So how did you get through that year? I know it wasn't fun. I felt horrible the whole year, but tell the people.
Well, I guess where like I lived was like far from where like everyone else, all the other freshmen were living kind of. So that was hard. And then not only was I in like a different area, like my floor itself in my building was really quiet too. So a big part of my personality is like socializing and like interacting with other people and stuff like that. But my floor like totally was not like that. And like even though I had like classes with all these people because it was like the animal science floor, that's my major. Even though I had classes with all those people, it wasn't like I just didn't really like click with them and like they had their own it just wasn't a good fit, basically. Um so that was really hard. And then me and my roommate we also weren't a good fit, I guess. We just
Definitely.
Yeah, we just weren't like really into the same things and like um like I said, like I like to go out and have fun and like do school and stuff like that. But my major is like really competitive, I would say. So a lot of people don't a lot of people don't do that, especially freshman year. Like I think now a lot of people in my major like go out and socialize more and stuff like that, but a lot of them didn't really do that freshman year, so it's hard for me to like try to find a balance. But I know for myself, if I just like stayed in my dorm all the time and like did school all the time, like I would be miserable. Like I need like the balance. Um so it was just hard like navigating that aspect of it. And then also like the the people that I felt I would like connect with on like a social level and like be friends with were like on the other side of campus. And like if you're familiar with UMass, like it's a huge campus. So like it wasn't just like a 5-minute walk like to where everyone else lived. It was like had to go all the way across campus. Like it would be a whole thing. And then also I didn't want like if I was hanging out with my friends like at night, I didn't want to be the only person walking back across campus. So it was just like a whole like mix of things why like it was really hard to deal with freshman year. I think that as it was really only a problem like first semester, and then like as the year went on, the time that I was at school for second semester, like I was down hanging out with everyone more. But then also like my roommate didn't really want like other people in our room and stuff like that. So
That's
I
hard.
couldn't even like invite my friends over and stuff like that. So it was kind of like I was forced to, go 15 minutes across campus if I wanted to just like hang out with my friends. So that was definitely like hard to deal with. I did like it's fine now. Like it didn't like
Well, now you have you're staying in a house with your friends.
but I still like made friends, like and like
yes, you did. You did.
I'm still fine. Like it's not like it was like.
Well, you know what? One time made me really angry as a mom. I remember. I mean, because I had very good roommates in college. Like we took care of each other, and so I don't know why I just stupidly thought that's how it would be for my daughter. So I will never forget one time her roommate got sick. And Jessica was a freshman during the pandemic. Like, they got sent home because of the pandemic. So I remember one time her roommate got sick, and I don't know what her parents did, but me as, the mother of the roommate, I mean, the mother of Jessica's, whatever. I was like, Jess, make sure she's okay. Check on her. Ask her, does she need soup from the dining hall? Like I was, on top of it. Like, does she want you to? Should I send something to the room? Does she need medicine? I was on top of it. When my daughter got sick, and just imagine, like, she's out of state. I'm hours away from her. The clinic, the infirmary was like not like what we're used to. And this was before we knew it was COVID. She probably was one of the first people to have COVID. We just thought it was the flu. And the girl was like not helpful. I was like, can you ask your roommate to get you soup? Can you ask your roommate to,
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah, but it's not like that's like not realistic, I feel like. Like it's not like
what? That's how Generation Xers did.
You were probably friends with your roommate. So it was like you were living with your friends. Like they were taking care of you. Like, yeah, if I was sick now, like my friends would do that for me, but like I wasn't friends with this girl. We just like
but
lived
that's just the
together.
nice thing to do. I feel like that's just the nice thing to do. And I feel like this is part of what social media has done to your generation, that there's lack of empathy, there's lack of compassion, like how you treat someone as a human being. Like, you don't have to be my friend. I guess I'm old. Okay, moving right along. Moving right along. Okay, sleep issues, because this kind of goes back to the roommate thing.
Mhm.
You went through some times where it was challenging for you to fall asleep. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? How you coped with it?
Yeah. So again, like back to my freshman year roommate. I just want to say she's a very nice girl. Like
We're making her sound horrible.
yeah, she was like very nice. Like it wasn't like it was fine overall living with her. But I will say if you go to a school where you can pick your roommate, definitely pick and get on those Facebook groups. And even though it can be scary, just do it, because it will make your first year of college so much better if you are able to pick who you live with.
No, wait, why didn't you pick?
Because I had to live in that thing.
Oh, right. Because of mommy. Because of mommy. Darn.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, some schools you can't pick and like it's random.
Mhm.
And I think you have to fill out like those like it's like roommate like preferences, like conditions, like to make sure you guys are compatible. But make sure you fill those out like actually truthfully. If
Oh,
you
look,
do
Jess,
fill
we're
those
live.
out. I know.
That's so cool. We're live. Okay, so okay.
So then going off like the sleep thing, I think my freshman year roommate like snored a lot. So I would usually just like put headphones in before I went to bed. Which probably I don't know, like I wasn't listening to like anything crazy, like I would be listening to like calm songs and stuff like that, but it would also like wake me up a lot, like in the middle of the night.
Which she would, or the music?
The music would.
Mm.
So probably not like the best thing for sleep.
So what is the best thing for sleep? Let's see.
Well, like now I try to just like relax before I go to sleep and like decompress kind of.
Good girl.
I try to like stop doing homework and stuff like that, like an hour or two before I go to bed, and I'll just like watch TV or like watch a movie or like go on my phone for a little. Just to like relax before I go to bed. And then sometimes I'm not like that consistent with it while I'm at school, but sometimes I'll like meditate before I go to bed, just to like relax again, before bed and just like decompress. I feel like I said that a million times, but that's like what I do.
That's good. That's
yeah.
good. All right. Let me see. Coping. Okay, so sometimes I get these amazing texts from Jessica, and I save them all. But I'll get these texts that like every mother wants to have, and it'll say something like, "Oh my God, Mom, thank you so much for teaching me how to problem solve and cope. Their kids up here losing their ish, and I feel like I can handle the stress because you've taught me how to cope." Now, disclaimer: Jessica has lived her entire life with a psychologist. Jessica can probably talk somebody off a ledge, talk somebody through a panic attack like she has a doctorate in psychology, because she's heard me do it so many times. But that being said, talk to us a little bit about the difference you see amongst your friends that have coping skills and those that don't. Like what is the difference? Like what makes you send those texts home when you see somebody losing it?
Well, I just want to say like college is very stressful, and like I get stressed out too. Obviously, like I'm not perfect, but I feel like I think that a lot of people like my age were going through a lot of things that we have to do like by ourselves that we haven't really ever had to do by ourselves before, which is really stressful on top of like school and just like having like a normal fun college life. So I feel like a lot of times people can get overwhelmed, and then it's kind of just like a spiral of like being overwhelmed and stressed out, and sometimes it's hard for them to take a step back and be like, okay, like, what can like I do differently, or like maybe I need to like ask for help or like stuff like that. I think that sometimes, I don't know, like I feel like sometimes things happen where I'm like, okay, let's just like take a step back and like not like get so like stressed out and like crazy about it, I guess. Um, let's try to like talk through it and find a way we can do this in like a not so like high stress manner, if that makes sense. But I think that sometimes people don't have like the tools to like do that necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think we all get overwhelmed in life, and having the right tools is really important, which is why I tell most of my friends and clients, have your kids go to the college counseling center and getting counseling. I think it's really, really important to have someone to speak to. Because as you said, to your point, like little things can throw them off. Like I remember this summer, one of the things that got like pushed you over the edge was, I mean, this is a big thing, but we could have found a simple fix, but it was just too much. It was like, it's like when you have so many little things, like you have tons of little things that then just become a big thing. So I remember your washing machine, something was happening with her washing machine where it was tearing up the clothes. Like all her clothes were getting ripped up. And like it was a simple fix. Like after we figured it out, I don't even know what, but after we figured it out. But the point was she was so overwhelmed that she couldn't even go into problem solving.
Yeah.
Which is a huge thing. Like, you know, to problem solve, to do conflict resolution, you have to have the bandwidth to do it. And I think a lot of college kids just, they're spent. They don't have the bandwidth. What can we as parents do when we're far away to help you college kids with the stresses of life? What can we do? Send care packages? Like you don't care about the care. You didn't care about the care packages.
Well, I don't know if I ever got any, but
oh God. Well, you used to get them at camp. You
Yeah.
told me not to send the care packages, Jess. Go ahead.
I don't know. That's a really hard question because sometimes I feel like I don't really know. Honestly.
You know?
No, because like obviously like just you guys being there and like nice encouraging words are always great, but sometimes I feel like when you're not there, it's kind of just like you don't get it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's hard to explain because also I feel like sometimes even like with us when we're talking, it's like if something like made me upset, it's like I have to explain like 3 weeks of backstory why because I don't see you every day and like tell you. I mean, we text like every day, but like I don't know. It's like I can't. You're not like there in it, so it's like if I'm trying to explain one thing that happened, I have to tell you like the 3 weeks worth of like the backstory of how that even got to like that point, which I feel like sometimes just like adds to like the
stress.
Yeah, stress and anxiety, which is not great.
Which is why I think it's good for people to have a counselor, because if you had a counselor that wasn't me, I mean, not that I, you would have somebody to talk to every week, so that by the time something blows up, it's not like you have to tell me a month's worth of stuff, right? Because you're telling your counselor every week, and you're that's the benefit of therapy right there, that you're telling somebody every week. And from a mom point of view, like it doesn't feel fun. Like I won't explain the situation, obviously, but there have been many times when I'm at a party or I'm out with friends and I get the friend to call, or you're in tears and I'm trying to help you, but there's a month's worth of stuff you haven't told me. Like I think that doesn't feel good for anybody. And then I'm like, well, daggone, why she didn't tell me this so I could have helped her a month ago,
Yeah. I don't know, but I feel like I feel like it's really important as like a student to like use your friends as like resources, or even like if you feel like you don't really have like college friends that are like really solid friends,
Mhm.
because that's like a big thing too. It's like you want to make sure you have friends that are like actually your like friends that you can tell anything to.
Mhm.
But even if you have to tell like your home friends, like just like anyone you can tell really about things that are bothering you, because also I feel like they'll get it more because they're like
Mhm.
kind of going through the same stuff.
Mhm.
Because even I just feel like so many things are different like now from when like you were in college
What?
or like stuff like that. Like
Alone in the, as Philip said, in the 19s.
yeah.
When you were in college in the 19s. Okay.
Yeah, I just feel like things are like really different now. So your friends will probably like understand more and be able to like help and like talk you through things kind of too. Obviously, like you don't have to take what they're saying as like the
Mhm.
Bible, but yeah, I would say just like talk to your friends and don't be scared to like talk to like your professors too if you have like good relationships with
Mhm.
them, especially as you get older. Like I never really had like strong connections with any of my professors until like last year, I would say. Um, but now like I feel like I have a good relationship with a few that I can like talk to about like just like school stuff that's stressing me out, or like sometimes even like normal life stuff, and like I don't know. Sometimes it's good to just get like a different perspective.
I think that's really an important point, mentorship. And from freshman year, I was telling her, find a mentor, find somebody's wing that you can be under. And I think that really has changed your college experience. That she's found a great mentor, that she works in her lab, and has really kind of held your hand and probably will continue to do so once you graduate. So I think that's an important tip for parents to tell their students to try to, or their kids to try to find a mentor as soon as possible, to help kind of guide your career.
Yeah, it probably won't happen until you're like a junior, but so like don't be discouraged if like you don't get one like freshman or
But
sophomore
to keep
year.
the feelers out,
Yeah,
to start looking.
yeah.
I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I wanted to ask you? Um, I just want everybody to know that Jessica has lobster night at her university. Like
On Halloween.
these kids have lobster. Like it's like a country club. College is different than it was in the
I wouldn't
19s.
say
In the
it's
19s,
like a country club.
it is like a
but
country club. Why do you have lobster
It's just
and
one
sushi
night a year.
Okay. Anyway, what else can we talk about? Anything else we need to talk about? We've talked about mentorship. We've talked about roommates. We've talked about sleeping. Um, Friends. Did we talk about friends? Gaining friends and community.
I think
Test anxiety. Do you want to talk about test anxiety a little bit? And study skills and that kind of thing?
sure.
Not really.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I mean, I definitely get nervous for tests. I think everyone does. But I will say that my school, at least for the classes that I've taken,
Mm-hmm.
which is like mainly all science classes. So I don't really know about other kinds of classes, but my school has a lot of really great resources for like review sessions and like tutoring and stuff like that. So I would say like don't be afraid to go to those. They can definitely be really helpful. Um, I think my biggest piece of advice, which is like something if I could like go back and do, would be if you feel like usually with like classes that are really hard, you can tell within the first couple of classes, like this class is going to be really hard. I would say if you can, and it's not going to like affect your like timeline of when you graduate, I would say like drop the class and take it at like in a later semester, especially if you have a really like heavy class load that semester. That's something that like I wish I took kind of a little bit more seriously. Because well, at least with my major, like I couldn't really do that because my major has so many like prereqs and stuff like that that like you have to take or at a certain time or else you won't graduate on time. So I personally couldn't do that. But if you have a major where you can do that, I would definitely suggest doing that and like just pacing yourself because I feel like um, sometimes, we have like those lists of classes that we have to get and it tells you like what semester to take them. But if you like need to like mix it around a little bit to like give yourself a lighter class load, or you think like you can really only handle like taking 2 hard classes and then the rest of your classes need to be like easy gen eds, I would say definitely like listen to yourself because obviously we've been in school for like a really long time and by now you probably know like how much you can handle and stuff like that. So just know that like you don't, well, I don't want to say that you don't, but there's likely room for you to be able to like change when you take certain classes because that's something that I wish that I did or could have done.
I think that's so helpful. The other thing I just want to add to that is for parents, if your child is experiencing extreme test anxiety, you can have their therapist. Another good reason why it's good to have your child with a therapist as they go off to college. You can have a therapist write a letter saying they have a diagnosis of anxiety or that they're experiencing extreme test anxiety to get accommodations. So that's something that I think people don't recognize, but especially freshman year, the kids are dealing with a lot. So sometimes it's helpful to, have a therapist write a letter about what they're experiencing. And most colleges will give some sort of accommodation for it. If not a formal accommodation, a lot of professors will give, certain accommodations as well. So that's something that people should know. Also want to leave you guys with saying if there are any college students on.
One viewer.
We have one viewer. Thank you, viewer. Thank you. The other thing I want to say for all the college kids that might eventually see this is if you are feeling suicidal, the number to text or call is 988. The rates of suicide have increased significantly since the COVID pandemic. We want to keep everybody safe. So again, it's text or call 988. That is a suicide hotline. Also, everybody, please just know you have a counseling center there. And I would encourage all college kids to get in some form of counseling. Who are we texting?
Hannah was our viewer, but I think she's gone
man,
now.
Hannah, thanks for viewing us. All right. All right, guys, we're going to sign off. We have to go get mani-pedis. And what else are we going to do? Get some lunch, mani-pedis. I'm just going to enjoy my girl while she's home. Did you just do a fish eye?
It's Hannah. She's back. She's our viewer.
Hi, Hannah.
Hannah, ask us a question.
Hannah, ask us a question. We don't know where to look, but we'll try to find it. Ask us a question, Hannah.
Wait, make it bigger.
Okay. I think she asked it on your phone.
Yeah, I don't know how to see the questions.
All right. We don't know how to do this, so.
Hannah, we might have to go and sign off. Thanks for watching.
And thank you for watching and supporting the. Oh, let me just talk really quick about. Okay, so we talked about sleep here. Just so you know, look back at my video with the sleep questions answered. And below, you can find a link to book a private session with me. And you can find the link to the sleep course if you have a college student that is having a hard time falling asleep. All that stuff is linked below. All right, let's go get mani-pedis. Say bye to the people.
Bye.